Welcome back to the CrossFit Thello podcast. I'm Coach John, by myself, and we haven't really done a whole lot of podcasts lately. We definitely would like to get back to being more consistent, and we apologize for not, but here we are. All right, I'm gonna kind of keep, throwing our knowledge out there. Best we can, because our goal is to not only provide you with the best gym around, but with the knowledge and education where you guys can think for yourself a little bit as far as what your goals are and where to take that. And obviously we're here to help, but this is a big part of that. So today we're going to talk about how much is too much. That's like a question that I think we get a pretty good bit. There's a lot of gray area, I believe, when it comes to this question. But how much is too much in terms of training and working out in general? Should you be doing more? Should you be doing less? For a lot of us, this is kind of where I'm at right now. I feel like I'm doing as much as I possibly can because a lot of times life doesn't allow me to work out that much. But some of us have a little more time or availability, or can create more time and availability to do more. Should you stay after class and do a little extra work or whatever it may be? It's a pretty good question. My answer would be it depends. It depends on what your goals are, what you're trying to get out of working out, whether that be to perform better, just to look better, so hypertrophy. It could be depending on your age. How well you're recovering. So as you get older, you don't recover quite as well, so that's a factor. You also need to look at how much importance you're putting on recovery. So are you prioritizing your sleep? Are you eating well? Are you eating to support your goals? Things like that. We got to take a look at those too. So all that factors in here. But just a few thoughts on it. As far as your goals go, if you're going for performance, let's say, to be better at CrossFit, you want to compete, then yeah, you could do some more. It definitely is not going to hurt. The volume that we do, in our class workouts is a pretty good bit, but you definitely could hit on the skill work more. You're able to recover from a little more than what we do. However, with that being said, if your goal is to be healthy, to look better, to move better, feel better, what we do is pretty adequate. And what we do, we try to keep the volume at a level where you're going to see results, but you're also not going to have to live and breathe recovery all the time. So if once you get into the competitive side of things where you're doing 2-3 workouts a day, you really have to I've got to recover from those workouts, and you have to be doing that all the time. You have to think about how much you're eating. Are you fueling for those workouts? Are you sleeping enough? You need 9-10 hours of sleep a night, which most of us don't get, especially if you have kids. But all those things are a big factor. Guys that you see, competitive games athletes that are on TV, most of them, that's what they do, right? They work out 2-3 times a day, and then they nap hard, they sleep hard, they eat well. They have their nutrition dialed down to the T. They're taking the appropriate supplements, all so that they can recover from those workouts and perform well in those workouts. For the average person, when you start doing more workouts and picking up the speed there, you start getting behind because you're not recovering well. You're still living like you were doing just the one workout a day, which is fine, except for your performance is going to start to suffer. You're going to start to slow down. You're going to get an injury eventually because your body is not recovering like it should. So if your goal is performance, definitely take those into consideration as far as your sleep, nutrition, and things like that. If your goal is just to look better, you could do some more, but you don't have to. But you're going to receive results maybe a little faster if you add a few more sets of something in there. So, for example, I've been trying to this spring add about 6 to 7 more sets of arm work in a week over the course of the week. So we typically will hit 8 sets, sometimes 10 sets of arm work, whether that be through pull-ups, bent over rows. When we were doing our push-ups and pull-ups, that was a lot. But throughout the week, we're hitting arms, but probably 7 to 10 sets, something like that. Well, I'm trying to get to 15 by the end of the week. So I'll maybe do 2 or 3 sets of pull-ups and push-ups twice a week. It's really not that much, but over the course of the week, that does add up a little bit, and that's going to increase the hypertrophy in my arms a little bit. So something as simple as that can go a long way, but that's just specific to my goal right now. It could be anything else. I think what we do is a really good foundation for just health, looks, and how you feel. So let's say you want to run a 5K, 10K, one of those, a long way, marathon. Workout, still do it 5 days a week, you'd be just fine. But running on top of that is going to be beneficial. This isn't going to prepare you that well for a long distance run, but it is going to prepare you somewhat. It's just not going to get you all the way there. So you can add a little bit to it. Again, you have to take into consideration the other things like we talked about with food, hydration, sleep, and things like that. Since you're bumping up your activity level, that's a big factor. But you can afford to add a little more in there. It's not going to hurt you as long as you're careful. All right, so again, it goes back to your goals and what they are. But I really want to emphasize that what we do is enough for 90% of us, including myself. So most of the coaches, it's just what we do, is the class workout, and you move on throughout your day, and it keeps us strong, keeps us fit, keeps us healthy. Like I said, every once in a while there's a few things that I'll pick up and add in there, but it's not really necessary. And I would suggest that, hey, if you've got some extra time during a different season of life, whatever you want to call it, that you didn't have before, and you want to focus on something, sure, throw in some extra core work in there. Or you want to get better at some handstand skills. We'll start practicing those for 15, 20 minutes a couple times a week after class. That's not going to hurt you at all, and you're going to see results pretty quickly from things like that. But what I wouldn't do is, I'm going to come work out in the morning, hit the workout, the strength, all that, and come back in the afternoon and work out for another 2 hours and just cannonball into this working out all day, because that is going to be very, very difficult to recover from. Little small changes or additions to your workout program will go a pretty good way. And then when you hit life where it's all you could do to get in here and work out once a day, if that, it's a lot easier to maintain what you've built once you've got it. So, once you can't do those extra sets of push-ups and pull-ups or whatever it may be, well, you're going to maintain it very well doing the class workouts. You're still going to be building strength and building hypertrophy from them, just maybe not quite as fast. So you certainly won't lose it. So the way we structure the workouts, we're making sure we hit all the different muscle groups, different energy systems. Everything is improving. So your cardiovascular health, your muscular health, range of motion, everything. So, how much is too much? It's a loaded question. So it's very specific, but that's what we're here for. If you guys ever have any questions about, hey, this is something I want to get better at, what can I do? Ask us, and you're definitely welcome to hang around after class and knock out a few more sets of something. We always keep the gym is open while another class is going on. As long as you're not in the way of the class, feel free to come work out, do anything extra. That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. But again, I want to emphasize what we do is enough, but if you're doing extra stuff, just make sure you're recovering well. I would 100%, before you add anything extra to reach a goal, though, make sure that your nutrition and sleep is dialed in. So let's say you are not burning the fat that you would like for toning up, whatever it may be. Target your nutrition and food first. Make sure you're sleeping well. Once you've got that dialed in, then we can start bumping up the workout. But make sure that's pretty nailed down before we do a whole lot of extra work, because you really start running up the risk for injury when you start getting into overtraining just a little bit. So, I hope that was useful. Short little podcast here, but definitely a little discussion that I want to talk through, because we do get a pretty good bit of questions about overtraining, how much is too much, and what I'm doing enough. So see you guys in the gym.